Ethan Hale had thought he was done with the stars. After years of service as a commander in the Great Orion conflict, he had left the life of battles, alien fleets, and interstellar politics behind. Earth had become his sanctuary. He had built a quiet life in a small house on the edge of a forest, where mornings smelled of pine and rain, and nights were filled with the gentle hum of crickets. No alarms, no spaceships, no impossible decisions, just peace. And yet that peace shattered. One rainy evening, it started with a sound, a low, resonant hum, unlike any engine or thunder Ethan had ever heard. It seemed to vibrate the very air around him. He stepped out onto his porch, umbrella in hand, squinting through the storm. Silvery light split the sky, reflecting off the wet leaves and puddles, and he saw it, a sleek craft, hovering silently just above his backyard. Its surface shimmered, reflecting the storm clouds, and the rain slid off it like water off glass. Ethan froze. Memories long buried returned, long nights of strategizing, sudden attacks from alien fleets, the weight of lives depending on him. He never thought he would see one again, never thought he would face the impossible without warning. The ship descended slowly, almost gracefully, until it settled gently on the ground. Then the hatch opened, releasing a burst of soft golden light that illuminated the yard. And from that light stepped a figure he could never forget. Queen Leora of the Zalari. She looked exactly as he remembered, tall, regal, with skin that shimmered faintly like moonlight on water. Her eyes glowed with a mix of determination and something softer, something personal. She stepped forward, the rain glinting on her ceremonial armor, and for a moment, the world around Ethan ceased to exist. "Ethan Hale," she said, her voice both commanding and intimate. "I missed you so much, human. Let's go back." The words struck him like lightning. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out, blinked, thinking perhaps the rain and the storm were playing tricks on him. But she was real. The air around her hummed with energy. Her ship, her presence, it was all real. "Leora." "Whee!" "How? Why are you here?" He finally managed to ask, his voice hoarse. "I came for you," she said simply, stepping closer. Her eyes softened. "I have searched for you across the stars. I cannot wait any longer." Ethan shook his head. You can't. I live here now. Earth is my home. I don't belong out there anymore." Leora tilted her head slightly, almost in amusement, but there was a trace of sadness as well. "You never truly belonged anywhere else but at my side, Ethan. You never realized it then, but your presence was more important than you knew." He stepped back, rain soaking through his clothes. "That was a long time ago. We fought wars. People died. I've had a life since then." "I know," Leora said, her gaze steady. "And yet your life led you here, to this moment. I will not ask for much. Just come with me. One journey. One chance to return, together." Ethan's mind raced. He had imagined many impossible things during his years as a commander, but this was different. He had known aliens, fought them, allied with them. He had even loved one, in a sense. He could never fully name. To leave Earth, to abandon his simple, peaceful life, that was something else entirely. "You're asking me to leave everything behind," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "My house, my job, my life." Here Leora nodded. "Everything you left behind was never yours to keep, Ethan. What is truly yours is where you are needed, where you make a difference. And I need you. Yeah, people. Need you. I need you beside me." Her words struck him in ways he couldn't ignore. Memories of the war, the battles where his decisions saved entire planets, the nights they spent planning together, the moments they shared in silence aboard her ship, all of it came flooding back. And buried deep under years of routine and comfort, something stirred. Something that remembered the thrill of purpose, the feeling of being part of something greater than himself, and the warmth of her presence. He shook his head, trying to focus. "On reason, I can't just leave Earth. I have a life here." "I can't," before he could finish, A soft golden light glimmered in her eyes. "Ethan," she said softly, almost a whisper now, "I have crossed galaxies for you. I have fought battles you cannot imagine. I have survived because I believed you were worth finding. Please, come with me, just one time. That is all I ask." The storm seemed to still around him, as if the world itself waited for his answer. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something he hadn't realized before. Not just a queen, not just an alien leader, but a person who had trusted him, depended on him, and perhaps even cared for him in ways he never admitted to himself. Ethan swallowed hard. I don't know if I can," he admitted, his voice barely audible over the soft rain. Leora smiled gently, a warmth that cut through the cold rain. Then, "Let us take the first step together. You do not have to decide now. Just trust me. Come aboard and see. That is all I ask." Her words had a power beyond command. It was not an order. It was an invitation, a promise. A lifeline thrown across time and space. Ethan hesitated for a long moment, then slowly stepped toward the ship. Each step was heavy with doubt, but also with anticipation. The deck of her vessel was higher than he expected, but Leora reached out her hand. "Take it," she said. He did. The moment their hands touched, a spark of energy passed between them, not painful, but stirring. A connection he had felt countless times in battle, in moments of silent trust. His heart pounded as she helped him aboard. That the inside of the ship was unlike anything on Earth. The walls shimmered with flowing light. Alien symbols etched into surfaces that seemed to pulse with life. Ethan took in every detail, every hum of energy that vibrated through the air. He had seen advanced technology before, but this was alive. Leora led him to a small observation deck. Through the transparent walls, he could see the rain-drenched forests below, the storm clouds swirling above, and the tiny lights of his home. He realized this might be the last time he saw it. "I know this is a lot," Leora said quietly, "and I will not force you. But I promise you, whatever comes next will matter. You will see things no human has seen. You will help lives across galaxies. You will be part of something extraordinary." Ethan's mind swirled with images of distant planets, alien skies, battles fought in star systems far beyond Earth, yet he also felt the weight of leaving everything familiar behind. "I've missed this," Leora said softly, almost to herself. "The feeling of having you near. Even after all this time, I never stopped searching." Ethan looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something shift inside him. The quiet life he had built on Earth seemed smaller now, not wrong, but limited. He realized that adventure, purpose, and perhaps even something more, something deeper than friendship or duty, were waiting for him beyond this ship. He exhaled slowly. "All right," he said finally, his voice firm. I'll come with you. Let's see what's out there." Leora's eyes glowed brighter, and a smile curved her lips. "Good," she said. "You won't regret this." The ship lifted, off gently, carrying them above the storm and into the unknown. The hum of the engines resonated through Ethan's body, a vibration of power and promise. He looked at Leora standing beside him and felt the weight of the years melt away. The galaxy awaited, and he was no longer alone. As the forest faded beneath them, Earth became a distant blue. Among the stars, Ethan felt a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. He had left behind everything he knew, but something told him this journey, this return to the stars, would change him forever. Leora stood silently beside him, her hand brushing lightly against his, a reminder that he was not alone. And in that moment, Ethan understood. This was not just a call to adventure. This was a chance to reclaim a part of himself he had forgotten, the part that could make a difference, could inspire, that could fight for what truly mattered. The galaxy stretched before them, vast, mysterious, and full of possibilities. And for the first time in years, Ethan felt alive. The hum of the Zellery ship filled the space around them, soft vibration that seemed alive, flowing through the walls and floor like a pulse. Ethan leaned against the railing of the observation deck, staring at the vast expanse of stars stretching, endlessly before him. He'd traveled through the galaxy before, but this was different. He wasn't here as a soldier. He was here because Leora, the queen he had once fought alongside, had asked him to be. Leora approached him quietly, her steps soundless on the glowing floor. She stopped beside him and gazed out into the void. "Do you remember?" she began. "Softly, the siege of Orcs 9. Ethan's eyes narrowed, and the memories returned immediately. He could almost feel the chaos again. Explosions shaking the hull of the flagship. Lasers cutting through the dark void and the cries of soldiers, both human and Zelari, echoing in his mind. He had been just a young commander then, fresh from Earth, thrust into a war far bigger than anything he had imagined. "I remember," he said quietly. "How could I forget? The Drakari forces nearly wiped out your fleet, and we barely made it out alive." Leora's lips curved into a small, proud smile. "You saved us," she said simply. "Not because you were ordered to, not because you wanted glory, but because you understood strategy, timing, and people. You always protected those who could not protect themselves. Even then, you made a difference." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Compliments from Leora were rare, and he remembered the first time she had acknowledged his decisions during a battle. It had made him feel human, even among the stars. "Those nights on Orcs 9, she continued, when the fleet was surrounded, and you took a single shuttle to distract the Drakari. I never stopped thinking about it, not just because you saved my life, but because of who you are. You were always brave, you always cared, and she paused, her eyes glimmering faintly. "I needed you then, and I still do now." Ethan's throat tightened. He had never expected her to admit such things aloud. He had fought beside her, yes, but words like this were never said in the middle of a battlefield. And yet here they were, orbiting Earth, and she spoke them freely. He began, but the words caught in his throat. He had been trained to speak decisively in the heat of war. But this was not war. This was personal. Too personal. Leora touched his arm lightly, grounding him. "I know it is difficult, Ethan. You have built a life here on Earth. You think of your friends, your home, the quiet you found, but you cannot ignore what is part of you. The man you are was shaped in the stars, in battle and in loyalty. You are needed again, not as a soldier, but as someone who makes the impossible possible." Ethan looked into her eyes. He saw no orders, no demands, only truth. And that truth was frightening. It reminded him of the nights he had lain awake in the cold corridors of her ship, wondering if he had made the right choices, if he had saved enough lives, if he had been enough. And now, years later, she was telling him he was. "You always give humans too much credit," he said finally, managing a small smile. "We're not as clever as you Zelari make us out to be." Leora chuckled softly, a sound that made Ethan feel lighter than he had in years. Perhaps not. But cleverness is not what I admire. I admire courage, heart, and the ability to rise. When everything seems lost, you have all of that, Ethan. The ship's lights shifted, illuminating a holographic star map that floated between them. Leora gestured to it. "I wanted to show you something," she said. "Something you may not remember clearly." Ethan leaned closer as the map zoomed in on Orcs 9, showing a scene from years ago. Tiny dots representing ships moved across the projection, and he saw their fleet, human and Zelari, surrounded by countless Drakari vessels. He saw his own ship, maneuvering desperately, and he felt the fear, the tension, and the resolve all over again. "I remember this," he said quietly. "It was chaos." "Yes," Leora agreed. "And yet, in the middle of chaos, you were calm. You saw paths others did not. You coordinated our forces. You saved lives, not just mine, but thousands of others. You did not think of yourself. You acted because you understood what mattered." Ethan's hand rested on the hologram, as if touching it could bring him back to that time. "I was just doing my job." "No," Leora said firmly. "You were doing more than your job. You were leading with your heart. That is why I remember. That is why I have sought you. The galaxy, the universe, does not forget those who act with courage and purpose." Her words lingered in the air, heavier than any weapon, yet gentle in their truth. Ethan swallowed hard. And now you want me to come back? To help again? Leora nodded. Yes, but not as a soldier this time, as someone who can advise, guide, and help unify. My people face challenges. Some believe I have grown weak, too close to humans. Others question my decisions. But you have perspective. You see things clearly. You understand people. And I trust you more than anyone else. Ethan's mind raced. Politics, councils, alien factions, all of it sounded like the things he had left behind. But there was a pull he could not ignore. The pull of purpose, of responsibility, and perhaps of loyalty to someone who had risked everything for him. Leora, he said slowly, if I come, it's not as a soldier. It's as a friend, but I need to understand everything first. I can't just step back into a war I don't fully see yet. You will understand, Leora promised. I will not rush you. Only ask that you trust me for now. Come with me and see what is happening in my world. See why your presence matters. Ethan nodded, feeling the old thrill of adventure stirring in his chest. It had been years since he had felt this alive, this purposeful. The quiet life on Earth was comforting, yes, but it did not ignite his soul the way the stars did. The way Leora did. The ship's lights shifted again, and a soft alarm chimed. Leora glanced at the controls and frowned. I did not expect company, she said quietly. We have visitors approaching. Ethan turned to see a series of dots blinking on the holographic map. Small, fast-moving ships, too advanced to be Earth-made. His heart quickened. Drakari? He muttered under his breath. Memories of the last time he had faced them returned. Ruthless, calculating, and deadly. Leora's hand rested lightly on his arm. Do not worry. They cannot reach us yet. But this is why I need you. The galaxy is changing, and threats are growing. Your insight, your courage. We need it. Ethan swallowed. He'd fought them before, but now he understood the stakes were different. It's not just battles, but lives, alliances, and perhaps even the future of Leora's people hung in the balance. As the stars streaked past their windows, he realized that leaving Earth was no longer just about adventure. It was about duty, friendship, trust, something deeper, something he had never allowed himself to name before. He turned to Leora. All right, said his voice steady. Show me what is happening. I'll come with you. I need to know the whole truth. Leora's eyes glowed softly. You will, Ethan. You will see everything, and together we will make a difference. The ship hummed beneath them, carrying them further from Earth, further from the quiet life he had. Known and deeper into a galaxy that was alive, dangerous, full of possibilities. For the first time in years, Ethan felt ready. Ready to face the past, ready to embrace the future, and ready to stand beside Leora, not just as a soldier, but as someone who mattered, and as the stars stretched endlessly before them. He knew that this journey would change him forever. Not just as a human, not just as a warrior, but as a partner in a story that spanned worlds, battles, and hearts. The galaxy waited, and Ethan Hale was ready to answer its call. The stars streaked past the Zelari ship as Ethan Hale stared at the endless darkness of space. He had left Earth behind, left the life he had built, and stepped into a galaxy that was alive, dangerous, and beautiful. Yet, despite the thrill of the journey, he could not shake the feeling of unease. Leora's words echoed in his mind. The galaxy is changing and threats are growing. Your insight, your courage, we need it. He turned to see Leora standing beside him, her eyes fixed on a distant cluster of stars. Her posture was steady, calm, yet there was a tension about her. It's an invisible weight that reminded him she was more than a queen. She was the protector of her people, a strategist and a warrior. What's troubling you? Ethan asked, breaking the silence. The Drakari, Leora replied without looking at him. They are faster than I anticipated. Small raiding parties, but relentless. And they have learned of my journey to Earth. Ethan frowned. His previous encounters with the Drakari surged back, ruthless alien forces that hunted without mercy. Their ships small but powerful, their tactics deadly. "So they know you've been here," he said. "Now they want to stop us before you return to your people." Leora nodded. "Exactly. Their intelligence is impressive. They have tracked us this far, and soon they will strike in force. That is why I brought you with me. Your strategic mind, your ability to think differently. It will make a difference." Ethan took a deep breath. He had trained for countless battles, but now he was not just a soldier. He was an advisor, a partner, someone who had to anticipate threats beyond simple combat. "Show me the map," he said. "Let's see what we're dealing with." Leora gestured to a holographic display that appeared between them. It showed several fast-moving points of light converging on their current trajectory. "These are Drakari raiders," she explained. "They are small, but equipped with advanced weapons and cloaking technology. Their goal is to intercept and capture me before I can reach my homeworld." Ethan studied the display, analyzing the patterns. "If they are coming in waves, we can predict their paths," he said, tracing a few lines with his finger. "And if we manipulate the ship's sensors, we can create false trails, make them think we are elsewhere." Liara's eyes widened. "Slightly, you would do that?" "I would do whatever it takes to protect you," Ethan replied. He felt the old thrill of strategy returning, the excitement of planning, adapting, and anticipating an enemy's moves. It was familiar and comforting in a strange way. Leora smiled faintly, her confidence in him evident. "Then let us prepare. They will be here soon." Hours passed as Ethan worked alongside her crew, learning the intricacies of the ship's systems. In its advanced technology, the vessel responded to his commands with smooth precision, almost as if it recognized his purpose. Ethan felt a surge of pride. He may have been human, but his mind, his experience, and his instincts were invaluable here. Then, without warning, the first wave of Drakari raiders appeared. Ship's alarms blared, red lights flashing across the deck. The crew rushed to their stations, but Leora remained calm, her hand resting lightly on the control panel. Ethan's heart pounded. This was no simulation. This was real. And for the first time, he understood fully what Leora had meant. His presence could mean the difference between survival and destruction. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted, taking charge as he studied the holographic map. "Divert power. To the shields and prepare decoys. We'll draw them into the asteroid belt." The crew followed his orders, their confidence bolstered by his leadership. Leora glanced at him, her eyes reflecting both relief and admiration. "You are more than a strategist," she said quietly. "You are a leader." The Drakari ships closed in, firing energy blasts that streaked across the void. The Zelari vessels shook with each impact, but Ethan's quick thinking allowed them to dodge the worst of it. Using the asteroid belt as cover, he directed the ship through a series of tight maneuvers. Confusing the raiders and buying precious time, one of the Drakari ships attempted to flank them, slipping through a narrow gap between two asteroids. Ethan anticipated the move. "Now," he shouted. The ship's weapons targeted the incoming vessel, disabling it without destroying it. The Drakari craft spun out of control, harmlessly colliding with a nearby asteroid. Leora exhaled, a rare smile breaking across her face. "Impressive, human. You have not forgotten your skills." Ethan allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. "I may have left the battlefield, but the battlefield never leaves me," he replied with a wry grin. As the last of the raiders retreated, the ship's alarms ceased, and the crew began to stabilize the vessel. Ethan sank into a chair, exhausted, but exhilarated, that was. "Intense," he admitted. Leora sat beside him, her expression thoughtful. "You see now why I needed you," she said. "The threats we face are not simple. They're clever, adaptive, and relentless. Your perspective, your humanity. It is exactly what we need." Ethan looked at her, understanding dawning. "You're saying that humans are our way of thinking? Our creativity is a strength." "Yes," Leora said softly. "Humans have a way of seeing things differently, of adapting when the rules are not enough. That is why I sought you. That is why I brought you here." For a moment, silence fell between them, filled only by the hum of the ship and the distant twinkle of stars. Ethan felt a strange mix of pride, responsibility, and connection. He was far from Earth, far from the quiet life he had known, yet he had never felt more alive. Suddenly, Leora's expression changed, her eyes narrowing as she studied the holographic display. "There is more," she said, her voice tense. "The Drakari were not acting alone. There is a faction within my council, one that questions my leadership and sees your presence as a threat. They will not welcome us isly." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Political challenges now? After all this?" "Yes," Leora replied. "And they are just as dangerous as the raiders. Some would betray their own people to seize power. That is why your guidance is crucial. You see things clearly. You act without fear or selfish ambition. That is rare in any world." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility settling on his shoulders. He had left Earth seeking peace, but now he understood that peace was not always simple. Sometimes, to protect what mattered, one had to face danger, conflict, and uncertainty. "I understand," he said firmly. "We are to reach your homeworld safely. I will stand by you, not just in battle, but in strategy, in counsel, and in decisions that shape the future." Leora's eyes glimmered with gratitude. "Then together, we will face whatever comes. The galaxy is not just a place of stars and planets, it is a place of choices, courage, and strength. And you, Ethan, remind me of what is possible. Ours." Later, as the ship approached a safe route through the outer systems, Ethan found a moment to breathe. He looked at Leora, who was reviewing star maps and reports, her focus unwavering. She was more than a queen. She was a fighter, a leader, and someone who had placed her trust in him. He realized that this journey was no longer just about leaving Earth. It was about purpose, about standing for something greater than himself, about reclaiming the skills and courage he had honed in battle. And most importantly, it was about the bond he shared with Leora, a connection forged in war, strengthened by trust, and now guiding them through the unknown. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked suddenly, breaking the quiet. "The strategy, the adrenaline." Leora paused, looking out at the stars. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But more than that, I miss the people who fought beside me. I miss those who believed in me, and in whom I could place my trust." Ethan were always among them. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. "Then let's make sure that trust is not misplaced," he said quietly. "We'll face what's ahead together." Leora nodded, her eyes meeting his with a fierce intensity. Together, she agreed, as the ship glided silently through the vast expanse of space. Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy was dangerous, unpredictable, and full of challenges. But for the first time in years, he was not afraid. With Leora at his side, and with his own skills and courage returning, he felt ready to face whatever came next. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Ethan Hale knew that this was only the beginning. The true call to adventure had just begun. The Zellar ship glided silently through the void of space, leaving behind the distant twinkle of Earth. Ethan Hale had never imagined that returning to the stars would feel like stepping into a storm he could see coming from light years away. The Drakari had retreated, but Leora's warning had been clear. The true challenge awaited them at her homeworld. The first glimpses of the Zellari home system appeared on the holographic displays. 3 bright suns illuminated a cluster of planets, each orbiting in perfect harmony. Ethan felt awe. The worlds were breathtaking, oceans of blue, mountains that pierced clouds, and cities that shimmered like jewels under alien skies. "This is beautiful," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "I can see why you fight so hard to protect it," Leora nodded, but her eyes were serious. "Beauty is not enough to save a world. My people face internal conflict. My council is divided, and some factions question my ability to lead, especially with a human at my side. They will see you as a threat, Ethan. Some will try to turn the people against me, against us." Ethan's jaw tightened. "So it's not just the Drakari we have to worry about. It's politics, too." "Yes," Leora said, her tone firm. And politics can be deadlier than any fleet. As they approached the capital planet, ship's sensors detected small vessels moving rapidly. Toward them, scouts from Leora's own council, likely sent to assess their arrival. Ethan studied the display, trying to understand the patterns. "We need to land carefully," he said. "Make it seem routine, controlled. Don't give them reason to suspect conflict." Leora smiled faintly. "You still surprise me, human. You think strategically even in unfamiliar territory." Hours later, they entered the atmosphere of the capital planet. The city sprawled below them, a magnificent blend of alien architecture and technology. Towering spires rose above the clouds, glowing with energy, while streets and canals shimmered with movement. Ethan was struck by the scale and elegance of it all, but Leora's face remained tense. "Watch carefully," she whispered. "Not all eyes are friendly." The landing was smooth, but the crew felt the weight of suspicion as council emissaries approached. They wore formal attire, their expressions polite but guarded. The leader, a Zelleri named Corin, stepped forward, his gaze sharp and calculating. "Queen Leora," he said formally, inclining his head, "we welcome you back, and your companion, Ethan Hale." Ethan stepped forward, trying to mask his nerves. "It's an honor," he said. His voice was steady, but he could feel the council's scrutiny like a physical weight. Corin's eyes narrowed slightly. "We hope your journey was peaceful. Yet it seems unusual that a human would travel with the Queen. Some may see this as a political statement." Leora's lips pressed together, her jaw tight. "Ethan's presence is not a political statement. He is here because he is needed, and because he chose to come." There was a pause. Council members exchanged subtle glances, whispers passing between them. Ethan realized immediately that some of them were questioning not just Leora, but him as well. "Human ingenuity," he said quietly. "Stepping forward can complement leadership. I am here to advise, to assist, and to help prevent unnecessary conflict. Nothing more." Leora looked at him with a mixture of pride and relief. "Thank you," she whispered. Their escort led them through the city, past crowds that stared in awe at Ethan. He realized that humans were rare here, perhaps nearly unknown. Children pointed, adults whispered. He felt like a stranger, yet he also felt the subtle respect that came from his calm confidence. Once inside the palace, the council convened in a grand chamber, its walls alive with flowing light and alien symbols. The air was thick with tension. Corin spoke first. "Queen Leora, you have returned with a human. Many believe this. It's unconventional. Some question your judgment. Others fear influence over the council and our people." Alara's voice was firm, commanding attention. "I chose Ethan because he has proven himself in battle and in strategy. He is a man of integrity, judgment, and courage. I trust him. The trust is not a weakness. It is a strength, and my people will see that." Whispers spread across the chamber. Some council members nodded subtly. Others exchanged skeptical glances. Ethan felt the weight of their doubt pressing on him, but he stood tall. "Your council doubts your ability because of fear, not truth," he said. "You face challenges every leader faces: politics, pressure, and enemies. But decisions based on fear rarely succeed. Decisions based on reason, courage, and trust succeed. If you will allow me, I can help you guide your people through this. Together, we can prevent conflict before it begins." The room fell silent. Corin's expression was unreadable, but the tension eased slightly. Leora placed a hand lightly on Ethan's arm. A small gesture of trust and reassurance. Hours turned into days as Ethan worked alongside Leora. He studied the council's records, analyzed potential threats, and advised on strategic decisions. Each time he spoke, the room of skeptics gradually grew quieter. Their doubt replaced by consideration, but the peace was fragile. Small attacks began to appear near the outer colonies. Drakari raiders tested the defenses, probing for weaknesses. Ethan's mind raced, analyzing each move, predicting responses, preparing countermeasures. One night, while reviewing star maps, he turned to Leora. The attacks are increasing in frequency, he said. They're trying to destabilize. Your rule? Make your council question you and create panic among the people. Leora nodded, her face serious. They want to make me appear weak. But with your help, we can show strength. Not through force alone, but through wisdom, unity, and planning. Ethan felt a surge of purpose. He had left Earth seeking peace, but now he realized that protecting peace sometimes required courage, action, and leadership. And he had found that opportunity here, in a galaxy far from home. With Leora relying on him in ways he never expected as the days passed, their bond grew stronger. They trained together, planned together, and shared quiet. Moments away from the council chambers, one evening, as they watched the twin suns set over the city from the palace balcony, Leora spoke softly. Ethan, I've not been honest with you about something, she said. Your presence matters not just for strategy, it matters for me. I value your companionship, your insight, your courage. You remind me of what is possible, even when the galaxy seems full of darkness. Ethan felt his chest tighten. I never expected to be part of politics, he said, but understand now, this is bigger than us, bigger than battle, and I am honored to stand with you. Leora smiled, a warmth in her eyes that Ethan had never seen before. Then we will face this together. The galaxy may challenge us, the council may doubt us, but together we will prevail. Suddenly, an alert flashed across the display. Drakari ships approaching the capital system in force. Ethan and Leora exchanged a glance. The test of strength, strategy, and courage had arrived. Ethan felt the familiar thrill of battle, tempered by the understanding that this time it was not just about survival, it was about protecting a people, a queen, and perhaps a future that depended on unity, trust, and courage. Prepare the defenses, he said firmly, and gather the council. We will show them what we are capable of, not just as warriors, but as leaders, and we will do it together. Leora's eyes glimmered with pride. Together, she agreed. As the stars outside streaked past with urgency, Ethan felt alive in a way he had never known. The galaxy was a place of turmoil, but it was also a place of opportunity. Opportunity for courage, for strategy, and for humanity to shine. And as the first Drakari ships entered the system, he knew that the true challenge had begun. Not just a battle, but of leadership, trust, and the bonds that could change the fate of an entire world. The galaxy awaited their next move. Ethan Hale was ready. The capital system was alive with tension. The Drakari fleet had entered the outer orbit, their sleek ships glinting menacingly under the light of Zelari suns. On the palace bridge, Ethan Hale stood beside Queen Leora, analyzing the holographic display. The council members were gathered behind them, their expressions a mixture of fear, doubt, and anticipation. Ethan's mind raced. He had faced countless battles before, but this was different. This was not just war. It was a test of leadership, strategy, and unity. If they failed, Leora's people would suffer. If they succeeded, they could reshape the galaxy's future. Ethan, Leora said quietly, placing a hand on his shoulder. Are you ready? He looked at her, meeting her calm but determined gaze. As ready as I'll ever be, he replied. We fight not just for survival, but for what is right, for your people, for your world, and for hope. The Drakari fleet advanced, small but coordinated. Their numbers were overwhelming, and their attack patterns suggested they intended to isolate the capital planet before the council could organize defenses. Ethan quickly formulated a plan. Divide the fleet, he said, pointing to the holographic map. Send decoys to draw their attention. Use planetary defense grids to create choke points. We'll force them into positions where their numbers won't matter. And most importantly, we fight together. Council ships, palace defenses, and my strategy combined. No one acts alone. Leora nodded. Do it, she commanded. Her voice carried the authority of a queen and the trust she had placed in him. The council hesitated, but seeing Ethan's resolve, they finally obeyed. Ships scrambled, energy grids activated, and the sky above the capital planet lit up with the first flashes of battle. Ethan coordinated the defenses, calling out commands, predicting enemy movements, and adjusting tactics in real time. Laura stood beside him, issuing orders to her fleet, her confidence unwavering. Together, they orchestrated a symphony of defense, turning what could have been chaos into a precise and effective response. The Drakari realized quickly that their usual tactics would not work. Their cloaking technology failed to surprise the fleet. Their speed advantage was neutralized by strategic placement, and every move they made was countered with precision. One ship attempted a direct assault on the Palace orbital station. Ethan anticipated it. "Redirect shield power to the northern sector and fire ion disruptors," he shouted. The attack was neutralized, Drakari vessels spinning out of control before crashing harmlessly into an asteroid. Leora's eyes glimmered with admiration. "You're remarkable," she whispered, though she did not stop giving orders. Ethan felt a surge of confidence. "We are remarkable," he corrected. "Because we fight together." Hours passed. The battle raged across the outer system. Ethan's strategies and Leora's command combined with the Council's forces to turn the tide. Slowly, Drakari ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. Their morale broke, and the once feared fleet began to scatter. Finally, the last Drakari vessel fled, disappearing into hyperspace. The capital system was safe for now. Ethan exhaled deeply, his body exhausted but his spirit soaring. He had not only survived, but helped lead an impossible defense. Leora turned to him, her eyes filled with gratitude and something more, something personal. "Ethan," she said softly, "you have done more than I ever imagined. You have not only protected my world, but you have reminded me of what is possible when we trust each other." Ethan looked at her, feeling the weight of their journey. "I couldn't have done it alone," he said, "and neither could you. Together, we are stronger than anyone imagined." The council members, once skeptical, now looked at him with respect. Corin stepped forward, inclining his head. "Ethan." "Hail," he said formally. "You have proven your worth beyond doubt. Your guidance, courage, and strategy have saved our people." "I misjudged you." Ethan nodded, accepting the acknowledgement. "The galaxy is bigger than any one person," he said, "but when we work together, humanity and all people can achieve incredible things." Leora reached out, taking his hand. The gesture was simple, but it carried the weight of trust, respect, and the bond that had grown between them. "You are no longer just a visitor among my people, Ethan," she said. "You are part of this world, part of my life, part of the galaxy's future." Ethan felt a warmth he had not expected. The quiet life he had left on Earth seemed distant now, a memory of peace, but also of limitation. Here, among the stars, he had found purpose, connection, and a sense of belonging he had never known. Days later, as the Council worked to strengthen defenses and repair the damage from the Drakari assault, Ethan and Leora stood on the palace balcony. Below them, the city thrived despite the recent chaos, and beyond, the stars stretched endlessly, full of promise. "You know," Ethan said quietly, "I never imagined I would feel at home among the stars. But I think I do now. Here, with you, with your people. I feel like I belong." Leora smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of the setting suns. "And you do, Ethan. You always did, even before you realized it. You belong wherever courage, trust, and purpose guide. You, and I am glad you are here." For the first time in years, Ethan felt fully alive. He had faced battles, political intrigue, and alien forces that seemed impossible to defeat. He had left Earth, but he had gained a universe of experiences, alliances, and friendships. And most importantly, he had found a connection that transcended species. Worlds and expectations with Leora, with the people he had helped save, and with himself. The days that followed were filled with rebuilding, training, and planning for the future. Ethan worked alongside Leora to strengthen the planetary defenses, train council members in strategy, and prepare for potential threats. His human perspective brought new ideas, innovations, and solutions that even the Zellar had not considered. Yet, amidst the work, he and Leora found moments of quiet. They shared meals in the palace gardens, walked among the glowing spires of the city, and spoke of hopes, dreams, and fears. Ethan realized that this bond forged in trust, courage, and shared struggle was as important as any battle won. One evening, as twin suns set over the horizon, Leora turned to him. "Ethan," she said softly, "there will always be challenges, enemies, and trials. But I am confident that together we can face them all. You have reminded me that humanity, with its courage and determination, can change the course of the galaxy. And you have reminded me of what it means to hope, to trust, and to fight for what is right." Ethan smiled. "And you have reminded me that leaving Earth was the right choice. That even among stars, among alien worlds, we can make a difference and find a place where we belong." Leora took his hand, holding it tightly. "And stay with me," she said. "Not just as an advisor, not just as a strategist, but as someone who belongs here, with me, among the stars." Ethan looked at her, feeling the weight of their journey, the battles fought, the lives saved, and the trust earned. He nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. "Yes, Leora, I belong here, you, among the stars." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges, wonders, and possibilities. But for the first time, Ethan did not feel fear. He felt purpose, strength, and a sense of home. Together, Ethan and Leora looked out at the stars, ready to face whatever came next. The Drakari, internal factions, and the endless uncertainties of the galaxy were no longer threats that would break them. They had faced the impossible and emerged stronger. They had united not just fleets and planets, but hearts, trust, and courage. And as night fell over the capital city, the lights of civilization shimmered like jewels below them, a reminder that hope, determination, and unity could prevail even in the darkest corners of the universe. Ethan Hale had left Earth behind, but he had found something greater: purpose, connection, and a place where humanity truly shone. And with Leora by his side, he knew that. Together, they could face anything the galaxy threw at them. The stars were endless. The adventure was far from over. And humanity, through one determined, courageous man, had proven that even among the stars, they could make a difference. For Ethan and Leora, this was not just survival. This was triumph, and it was only the beginning.